In today's video, we're gonna turn a plastic dollar store car into a rusted out metal looking wasteland battle machine. Come out. It all started at the dollar store. They had these fantastic plastic cars that are in a neat, chunky style designed for small children. They also had my favorite Kitbash toy line, Final Faction, which I like because it only costs $1. That's thumbs up. And my buddy Plastic Geek sent me plenty extras. So I said, it would be a shame to not build a post-apocalyptic battle car, but there are some differences between them. So, which car to use? That's easy. This green one. Why? Sure. Because I came home with 2 of them, and we can do easy before and after shots. The main tools we be using is basically that right there. A hobby knife and some CA glue. Whichever glue you prefer. I should point out there are other glues designed specifically for plastics, but we're going to stick with CA or super glue. Now this is a CA glue accelerator, which makes the glue cure fast. One way I like to use it is to get my pieces glued up, dip me a little accelerator, and touch it to the joint. Now that's useful, but at least wear you some gloves and a respirator. Baking soda is another CA glue accelerator. Probably the most well-known trick in the hobby craft community is the use of CA glue with baking soda. Baking soda causes a rapid cure. Here's a macro view of the reaction. Look closely. See that smoke? But baking soda is extra useful for this project because it acts like Bondo. Like a filler, basically. Not only does it create long chain polymer connections, but also can easily give you a welded metal look. Once you paint it, add some rust maybe some black wash, etc. You'll wind up with a sloppy, welded metal plate look. But we ain't gotta be that sloppy. Come on, Chris. What could we use? A funnel? A pipette, LOL, or this DIY applicator by my friend Tinu from Craptastrophe. Thank you, buddy. So we have options. Also, I never use a skinny blade like that, not when I'm cutting plastic, because thick plastic parts especially can bend the blade. So I switched to a more stout handle and a fresh blade. The number 24 blade is my favorite for kitbashing. And when cutting plastic, you want to tighten it good. Put the hurdy-gurdy so the blade don't come out. Be careful. These Dollar Tree toys can take us pretty far on a kitbash. But what else can we use? Model kits. I'm talking even the leftover throwaway parts. All kinds of possibilities with that right there. We might use these little findings and bits from the hobby store. Oh, and beads. Beads can be used to make rivets. Here's some Bill making stuff sent to me. Thank you, Bill. You can also check your drawers. Since we're doing a post-apocalyptic build, any existing dirt or grime or rust is just a bonus. We may use some polystyrene, but my favorite materials are just random toys and accessories, recycled household items. I want to use this thing, but it's been featured one time before. Let's start with a clean slate and disassemble our little car. And I'm hoping it just kind of pops apart. There we go. Now then, before gluing or painting on plastic, you may want to make it receptive, either by cleaning or treating the surface. Oh mercy, my bad. That's one way. Or you can scuff the surface while wearing a dust mask, please. But to make plastic receptive to glue and paint, and Craftsman uses flame annealing. Always wear respiratory protection or be in a ventilated area. Our little glue test from earlier will show why I treat the surface. See that? That might be good enough for a YouTube thumbnail, but that's just too fragile. A safe bet is to use a mechanical, physical connection, like drill a hole, and then give it a socket to fit into. But let's look at what happens after we heat treat the plastic. Notice the somewhat shiny surface. A touch of glue accelerator. And let's see. That's a much better bond. Jump. And that's a thumbs up. Now back to our main car. Let's remove this rear window plastic by taking it slowly, carefully, in multiple passes. Don't angle the blade tip towards you, but instead keep it more parallel like that so you don't cut your thumb. This thumb pull stroke is my favorite because it's so strong, but if it slips, it only goes so far. Alright, the internet might tell you, cut away from yourself, but I've seen the worst knife injuries when someone was cutting away without that thumb control, that fine control. And when I do cut away, my knife hand is anchored onto the object. Look how rough a job I did, y'all. That's okay. We can wet sand it. Wet sanding is nice because it keeps all the little plastic particles from floating around, and the water also helps with the smoothing action. Look at that. See, that's not perfect, but it's acceptable. And now to decide what in the world to put on this car. And that is where you can really spend some time. My strategy is to start by finding key features. Standout items. And I literally just say, alright, is this gonna look aesthetically pleasing? Is it going to look functional? Does placing it here even make any sense? I'm always on the lookout for pre-manufactured advantages, aka PMAs. Pre-manufactured advantages are separate parts that share a similar contour or can work together as is. Let's see something. Uh-oh. I think we might have hit the jackpot right here. But remember, slow and controlled cutting. Alright. That's what I'm talking about, Craftman. Come on. Oh, yeah. Now I feel like we're up to a good start. Kitbashing is all about to cut it, test it, try it, bend it, check it. What about some missiles? Never mind, let's use these guns. We've got 2 of these guns and a way to mount these guns onto the cart. Alright, I found something I like, but we need to make a slight modification. You can negotiate PVC into new shapes using heat, but please wear a respiratory protection. A character design principle that can also be applied to our car is the silhouette rule. Basically, if your car or your character can be identified only by the outline or shape, you're doing good. But I'm spending way too much time trying to decide on features. Let's just start gluing. I'm mixing up some epoxy sculpt, which I use as filler for these big gaps like that. I'm adding me some little details using a pinhead and some safety salve. We know we're gonna need some spikes, so let's chop some up. Chop, 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 chop. Yeah, chop, chop. Again, I'm being liberal with the glue. Even though it's plastic, I still like to imagine a welder in the apocalypse just going crazy, burning up 6011 rods. Another glue trick is to use surface abrasion to give the glue some tooth, T-O-O-T-H, something to bite and grab onto. Notice how sloppy I'm being. With the glue and baking soda just going everywhere, it does not really matter that much. Now it's time to spray it with primer. Priming is usually a satisfying step because that's when it really ties it all together. I keep looking at this Adhesive lid. Let's glue on this little detail, which I thought it should be that way, but I like that better. I'm not even worried about the scratches. I want something on the back, like maybe to hold fuel or something. I think we found another pre-manufactured advantage. Thing might actually work better than I think it will. That gives us a nice connection. That does too. What do y'all think about this Adhesive lid? Let's see about if we can incorporate this Adhesive lid using some epoxy sculpt, and we just smooth it out. We don't have to use the Adhesive lid, actually. Kitbash projects can really drag on because we have no blueprint, no plan, just a concept, post-apocalyptic vehicle. And that means we can try almost anything, like this. We'll come back to it. For now, let's paint the interior in a sloppy manner. And one of my favorite parts, incorporating a metal mesh. It's not gonna just fit right away now. We actually have to take and just sort of bend it, work it, bend it. Give it a contour so that it'll fit into the windshield opening better. Like it belongs there almost, you know? The mesh came from a Dollar Tree organizer for anyone curious.
It's styrene time.
I like to incorporate real metal whenever possible. I find it just gives it an overall more realistic look. There we go. We need some rivets bad. This is Rosie, the riveter. To make a rivet panel, just take you some of these and stick them out, and you got some quick and easy riveted panels, especially after you paint them and black wash it, you know. But I decided to get extra creative and build an epoxy rivet tool using silicone mold putty. Big time graceful craftsman. By the way, if you in a hurry to make rivets, use some quickset epoxy like that right there. Craftman gonna stick with my old friend Epoxy Sculpt. While the rivets are curing, let's work on the wheels, which I've already spray painted. And remember, we're always looking for pre-manufactured advantages. And I think we found us a couple of options. I applied the quickest over-the-counter black wash ever just so that I could get to the primer. I'm using Dupli-Color black vinyl paint. Anytime I'm laying down metallic paint, I always bet on black primer. Especially cause we're gonna be using some chrome later. I should have left the mask on because I still got to paint the metal coating on top of it. Come on, Craftman. And for the bottom, I just use Dupli-Color vinyl in a sand color. And I try to keep components separate for painting. Craftman, if you don't thin your paints, I'm gonna also. Here's a neat little trick. Before the outer coat dries, I like to rub some off and then get down to that metal undercoat. And I'm just going to town with the paint here. But taking time to rub off. I'm trying to avoid the dry brushing step where you brush on metallic highlights from a mostly dry brush, you know. Let's see if we can get by without it. The more variety of color shades we can incorporate while keeping in our limited earthly palette, the better. Hoses, wires, cables, any little extra details you can add is going to really beef up the realism. Now I'm so ready to just come in here with a rust wash and just go wild, but I remember something from when I was checking my drawers. I saw this Fresnel lens. Craftman, you mean Fresnel. I saw this lens. I found a tiny one from a leftover model kit. It said I'm gonna make me 2 copies using silicone mold putty. Watch the, and it's just like that. Now while that's curing, let's go ahead and drill out our little headlight openings a little more using a step bit. 30 minutes later, and our mold is cured. A little UV resin, a quick cure. Pop it out, and repeat. Super glue can sometimes frost clear plastic, but that doesn't really matter in our situation. It looks like the light's gonna transmit right on through. I'm so ready to just rust and weather this car, but I keep finding things to add. I have a tendency to kind of do that with kitbash projects, but I almost forgot the most important part, the hood ornament. And now it's time for rust. I debated about using the DIY formula or making real rust with iron fillings and household ingredients. The peroxide vinegar and salt cause the iron particles to rust rapidly, and that can give you a neater fit. But we are going to make our own oil-based black wash, or brown wash since I don't have black. Hopefully all these will combine to make blackish. I like to mix mineral spirits in a glass jar. Now I'm just eyeballing and guessing how much to add. I mixed roughly 1 part paint to 5 part mineral spirits. Let's test it out real quick. Oh yeah. The mineral spirits acts as a carrier, kind of like a solve, and as well, it wicks into the crevices and creases and makes the details pop. And that is a thumbs up. Pretty happy with how that turned out. Now look at Craftsman's sloppy result and just imagine how much better y'all's is going to look. Try you a dollar store kitbash if you can. It's a thumbs up for fun. Are you a steady crafter and are you wild? If so, you can represent with your very own steady crafter in the wild stickers and t-shirt. Visit shop.craftnation.com if you're interested. Things like this really help support our channel. Thank you for joining me today. I hope y'all enjoyed that. Until next time, I love y'all and keep on steady crafting. All right.